Good day, everyone. I'm Sir Renan, your oral communication in context teacher. Today, I'll be sharing some thoughts on our first topic, the functions of communication. Mainly, we have 5 basic functions of communication: control, social interaction, motivation, emotional expression, and information dissemination. The first function is for regulation or control. Communication helps regulate our actions and behavior. So how does communication help regulate our actions and behavior? In our country, we have several laws, mga batas. Even in our municipality, there are ordinances or laws. In our barangay, even at home, your parents set rules for you to follow. In school, we have implementing rules and regulations. Even at our classroom, during our first day of classes, your class advisor would actually set rules and regulations for the students to follow. All these help regulate our actions as well as our behavior. Because if you happen to violate these rules and regulations, a corresponding punishment may be given to you in order to establish the value of discipline on your part. Kasi imagine a country without laws. Imagine a certain community without rules and regulations. What do you think will actually happen to its citizens? Di ba magiging chaotic, magiging magulo? So that's why communication is used in that particular manner. Communication is also used to regulate or control the pace. The pace is the speed and flow of conversations or the speaking of the participant so that interruptions and awkward silences between speakers are avoided. Both verbal and non-verbal cues are used to help achieve this particular purpose. You know the difference between verbal and non-verbal. Verbal is consisting or using words, may it be written or spoken. And say non-verbal, it's not involving or using words, just actions. So in the case of regulating or controlling the pace and flow of conversations, there are some verbal cues that we may use for this particular purpose. Like the expressions, "That's it," or "Thank you." That's an example of a verbal cue that signal that the speaker is done speaking. Another one, expressions like "yeah" or "uh-huh." They encourage a speaker to continue speaking. Or you may also use expressions like "well," like that. They indicate that the speaker is not finished speaking or still thinking about what to say next. Or you may also ask questions like, "Is that clear or do you follow?" That is to check the continuous flow of conversation. In the examples or expressions that I made mention, it is clear that you or the speaker is controlling or regulating the pace or the flow of the conversation. Nonverbal cues may also be used to regulate or control the pace and flow of conversations. One example is the use of eye contact. For example, when a speaker looks at the listener, diba, when the speaker looks at you, maybe the speaker wants you to say something. The speaker may be requesting a feedback from the listeners, or the speaker wants the listener to take the floor. When you say you want to take the floor, meaning you're going to speak. Or sometimes when a speaker looks away or avoids eye contact from a listener, maybe the speaker is suppressing the listener's attempt to take the floor. In short, ayaw kanyang pagsalitain. Another nonverbal cue that may be used is head shaking. It indicates that the listener wants the speaker to stop talking. One more is raising the index finger, yung hintuturo. Pag tinaas mo yan, that signals the speaker is not finished speaking yet. Diba, minsan, just like our teacher, the teacher in front speaking. When your teacher is not done yet speaking and the students want to take the floor, tinataas ni teacher yung index finger niya or yung kamay niya mismo to signal that the students it's not yet for students' turn to speak or to take the floor. Another nonverbal cue is leaning back. Just like a boss who leans back on his chair, he wants to tell the listeners that the conversation is over or the meeting is done. And that's about the first function of communication, the regulation or control. The next function is social interaction. It is an exchange that takes place between two or more individuals for social fulfillment. And social fulfillment is achieved when you make friends, when you build a deeper connection with your family or with the rest of the family members, or even at your working environment. Among the situations that involve social interaction include introducing yourself during the first day of classes, for example, or to someone, making social calls, or when you invite someone, or whenever you accept invitations from others. The simple way of saying hi, hello, how are you are really examples of interacting socially. Communication is meant for sharing and conveying messages, expressions, and information. There's no better way to share your thoughts and ideas but through social interaction. And this function is always present whenever you talk with your family members or whenever you share your common interests with others. It's like your friends. And I know that you are all fond of attending gatherings, birthday parties, or any other gatherings. In that way, you are already interacting socially. The next function is for motivation. It is the driving force that enables an individual to do something to achieve a particular goal. To motivate is to provide someone with a motive for doing something. To motivate is to stimulate someone's interest or even his or her enthusiasm for doing something. Communication can help make life better. For example, when you come across a friend who is so down and sad, your instincts would tell you to share positive words in order to provide encouragement. So there are basic verbal cues that you can tell others to help them motivate themselves. Like expressions like, you can do this, I believe in you, or never say never, never give up, and more expressions. These expressions can actually help themselves uplift their mood and spirit. Sometimes we are engaged in encouraging ourselves. Diba, we have that so-called the self-talk or talking to oneself. It is by examining our own thoughts, just like you would ask yourself, what will I get in college? Will it be the course I want, or the ones or the one that my parents want me to take. It is important to engage ourselves in a self-talk, especially when we are faced with a difficult situation or when we have just experienced something upsetting. Or kung hindi na kaya, that's the time that we will be needing the presence of other people. Kaya if you think that your friends really need to be motivated or needs motivation, then do your thing, do your part as a friend, motivate them. Especially this time, we are facing this crisis. Nagkakaroon masyado ng mental health problems. Kaya let's share our time with others. Let's do our part. Let's always do motivation because it increases one's productivity. Kasi whenever a lot of people believe in us, believe in you, you feel excited about doing something. And we will find it easy to do the task. Another reason for always doing motivation is that it empowers others. It empowers individuals. When a person is motivated, he or she feels that sense of personal achievement. There are ways that you can motivate others. First, you walk the talk. Walk the talk means you put your words into action. Di ka naman pwedeng mag-advise na mag-aral siya na mag-aral na maayos tapos ikaw di naman nag-aaral. Another way is to actively listen. Be attentive when listening to what the other person is saying. One more, make a person feel that he or she makes a difference. Remind him or her that his efforts are recognized and appreciated. And communicate clearly and with compassion. Be sympathetic. Put yourself in her shoes. Another function of communication is for emotional expression. Communication is a tool to express feelings and emotions. As humans, we have always been so emotional. Emotions can be conveyed verbally and non-verbally. Non-verbal expression of emotions can be shown by changes in one's voice, the pitch, the volume, the tone, facial expressions, and even our body movements. Admit it or not, it feels good whenever you are able to speak about your joys and pains, or your feelings of fulfillment and frustrations. It even feels better when you can express it with such intensity to equal the strength of such feeling. According to the recent scientific studies, there are 4 basic human emotions, which are happy, sad, surprised, and angry. A speaker's or a listener's emotions can significantly affect the communication process. Emotions can vary from time to time, depending on the situation, the participants, and even the environment in which the communication occurs. So you are expected to be happy when there is a celebration of success, though anyone can cry whenever he or she is happy, sad, surprised, or even angry. And the last of our 5 basic functions of communication is for the information dissemination. Information is generally defined as knowledge or facts about a certain subject, such as an event, person, or situation. Sharing information is an important component in communication. What I'm doing right now is an example of information dissemination. Communication functions to convey information and provide. You provide information to others in various speech situations, like when someone delivers an informative speech, when you ask for directions, when getting to know someone, That's why there are tips for you to observe in giving information to others. First is to maintain eye contact and speak clearly, because maintaining eye contact shows your interest and sincerity. Another one, use variations in speech. It is important to vary our intonation and volume of our voice. We need also to use appropriate pauses to enhance the meaning of the information we are giving. Another tip is to focus on the needed information. Do not overwhelm the person you are talking to with too much information. Give only the information that's needed. And in communicating with others, you also obtain information from them. So here are some tips for obtaining or receiving information from others, if you are the listener or the one who is asking for information. First, you need to note down important information. Second, you can also ask questions like, can you tell me about, or what do you think, or who do you think, or do you have ideas regarding, and so and so. And the third one is that you can ask for clarification and verification. Like, could you repeat, or what did you mean? What did you mean by when you say blah blah and so and so? And with those tips and ideas, you can actually say that communication really functions to convey information and provide awareness. Your GC is a concrete example of this function of communication, disseminating the info coming from the teachers or your subject teachers or coming from anybody else. And there you have them, the 5 basic functions of communication: control or regulation, emotional expression, social interaction, motivation, and information dissemination. That's all for now, and thank you for listening.